where they're just like hay bales, right? Or no,
Yep.
your ones even have like kind of a cage around.
Some we have a fence, some have I've seen some have tires, some have just a janky rope, some have like a weak ring. But these guys, street beefs, they have a cage. So basically, what happened was someone sent me some fights to watch because now I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch videos and break down fights. And one of the things was I got to start watching old classics of boxing and stuff like that because now I'm on it. And so a lot of the time when I was in my fighting career, I didn't get to pay attention to the greats. You know what I mean? And then this was all of a sudden, now I became diving down these YouTube rabbit holes and seeing all these things that I never messed around with it too much. You know what I mean? I was so almost anti-social media because everything, the negativity, the positivity, the good, the bad, all that being in the limelight, the spotlight, all that stuff. I kind of dipped away from it. But one of those things was all of a sudden now I get to go back and I get to watch these fights. But man, I remember this fight. I remember this. I always wanted to see this one. So it allowed me to start really paying my respects and catching up to the fight world. And so I'll sit there and break them down and watch them because, you can't just bootleg it. So you have to be, it's like I tell everybody, and it's ironic. And I'm just doing this just as a plug, but I'll pull this up and I'll say, they're like, how can you watch fights and do that? I go, because I got a PhD in this. This is what I do. I don't, like you can be a great writer, a great chef, and you can be teaching people how to cook. You be great at, doing things on the computer, great at graphics, great at building songs, sounds, all this stuff. And people want to see that. Well, I have a PhD in violence in combative sports. And so that's why people are like, well, how can you do it? So that was it. Anyway, when they showed me street beefs, I was like, oh my, this is me. I go, oh my God, this is unreal. I love this because I was that kid when I was growing up that had the boxing gloves and would box my friends in the garage or in the backyard in the grass, you know what I mean? And we'd have time limits and stuff like that. But it was a great way to get, you know what I mean? It was so much fun. And I mean, I loved it. And then I see these kids doing this. And now here's the deal. We do have a judge. We have a ref, we have a timer, we have 2 people in the cage, we have a medic, you know what I'm saying? So it is organized, but they like the aesthetics of having it outside. Like they've tried to put them inside and people just aren't into that. They like that rugged look. So we have the cage, they fight in the dirt. But what it did was what I started watching were these kids coming in, a few of them, it did start out as a beef. It's like, think about it like this. Someone that you have someone like a bully or someone that's picking on you, say, oh yeah, well, guess what? We're going to meet in this cage and we're going to do it on this day at this time. You know what makes everybody nervous? To see you've been through this, that accountability, that date, and knowing that they have this much time to plan for you and you get to plan for them. It's the easiest thing in the world to go to a bar, get pasted, someone says something, you don't even have time to think about it. That's easy. And that's what I tell everybody is once you start doing this, now you see people coming back and they're like, oh my God, they do this and they want to come back and do it again. So it literally became a fight club. And now they're training themselves and they're staying out of trouble. You know what I mean? And now they have this place. And what I tell everybody is this is once you get in there and do this, and you'll know this better than anybody, once you go in and fight like that, it becomes a game. It's no longer like what they put in the movies. It's no longer fighting. It's a game. And that's why you have to level up. You have to train. You have to get yourself into the gym. And there's certain levels of the game. But more than anything, there's accountability. And the fact that you can do that out there on this cage and they're videoing this, and now you have to worry about it going on YouTube and 500,000 to 20 million people can watch this thing and they get to have comments. The accountability, that makes you more like a pro fighter than anything else is that accountability. So when I seen that, that's what made me I'm like, I think there should be a street beefs everywhere. It started out as a beef. A few people, they wanted to solve their beef and not have 10 people jumping in and stuff like that. And then it just it just spiraled into this fight club and it's keeping these kids. And people are like, well, why don't you go to a gym and why don't you become a pro fighter? They don't want to. Maybe they can't afford gym memberships. Maybe they don't want to do something like that. Maybe they're, like I said, we're a bunch of little thugs. We like to fight, talk smack, but with the accountability, because we don't want to get jumped and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can go from this and one day become a Masvidal. Straight out the backyard. But so I have to be careful on Twitch. It does, because of TOS, I can't do street fights and I will not do street fights. I won't do those felon fights, things like that. I'll do it when it has an organized cage, a timer, a ref, You know what I'm saying? And they put on the gloves and it's or you know what I'm saying? It's a lot more planned out and taken care of. It's a lot more organized.